I want you to picture two neighbors. Same block, same zip code. Houses built the same year, same square footage, similar market value. The first neighbor pulls into his driveway every evening in a leased BMW 5 Series. Charcoal grey, freshly detailed, the kind of car that makes people glance twice as it rolls past. His garage holds a second car, a previous lease he kept because his wife liked it. Inside the house, there's an 85-inch OLED television that replaced a perfectly functioning 70-inch from 2 years ago. The kitchen counters hold a $1,200 espresso machine that replaced a $600 model that worked fine. His phone, always the latest release. His watch, recently upgraded. His golf clubs, a brand new set not because the old ones were broken, but because a newer model promised to shave a stroke off his handicap. He earns $180,000 a year. He has $11,000 in savings. 3 months ago, his car had a mechanical issue not covered by the lease. He put the repair on a credit card and is still paying it off. The second neighbor pulls in every evening in a 2014 Toyota Camry. Clean, runs perfectly, nothing remarkable about it. Her garage holds the same car she's driven for 11 years. Inside the house, there's a 55-inch television she bought in 2019 and has no plans to replace. Her kitchen has a $200 coffee maker that produces excellent coffee. Her phone is 2 generations old. Her watch is the same one she received as a gift 8 years ago. She earns $94,000 a year. She has 22 months of expenses saved, invests 24% of every paycheck, and 3 months ago took an unpaid sabbatical for 6 weeks to travel through Portugal because she could. Same block, same neighborhood. The person earning nearly half as much lives with twice the freedom, 10 times the security, and 0 financial anxiety. This isn't a story about income. This is a story about a trap so carefully constructed, so culturally normalized, so emotionally satisfying in the short term, that most people walk directly into it without ever noticing the mechanism closing around them. The trap doesn't announce itself. It arrives disguised as progress. It feels like success. It looks like success from the outside. But underneath the gleaming surface of every upgrade is a wealth destruction machine running continuously, quietly, at full power. Today I'm going to show you exactly how the upgrade trap works, psychologically, financially, and structurally. I'm going to show you why intelligent people with high incomes fall into it repeatedly, and why people with moderate incomes who understand the trap build extraordinary wealth while their higher-earning neighbors build nothing. And I'm going to give you the exact rules that separate people who escape the trap from people who spend their entire earning lives inside it. These rules aren't about driving old cars forever or living like a monk. They're about understanding the machinery of upgrading, so you can make deliberate choices about when upgrading genuinely serves your life, and when you're simply being fed into a system designed to extract your wealth one satisfying purchase at a time. Let's start with the mechanism, because understanding why the trap works is the only way to protect yourself from it. There is a concept in behavioral psychology called hedonic adaptation. It is, without exaggeration, one of the most financially destructive forces in the modern world, and almost nobody talks about it in personal finance. Here's how it works. You acquire something new: a car, a phone, a piece of furniture, a watch, a home. In the days and weeks immediately following the acquisition, you feel genuinely better. You notice the object, you appreciate it. It generates real satisfaction and measurable positive emotion. This is real, it's not manufactured. The feeling is genuine. Then something happens. The object becomes normal. Your nervous system, designed to notice change rather than constants, stops flagging the possession as remarkable. The car stops feeling new. The kitchen stops feeling upgraded. The phone stops feeling cutting edge. The watch stops catching your eye. What was once extraordinary becomes simply the environment you live in. Researchers call this the hedonic baseline. Your brain recalibrates. The new possession is absorbed into your definition of ordinary, and once it's ordinary, it can no longer generate the satisfaction it once did. This is not a character flaw. This is human neurology functioning exactly as designed. Your brain is built to adapt. In most contexts, this is beneficial. It allows you to move through the world without being overwhelmed by constant stimulation. But in the context of consumer culture, hedonic adaptation is a perfect weapon aimed directly at your financial security. Because once adaptation occurs, once the upgrade becomes normal, you need another upgrade to restore the feeling. The new normal requires new novelty to feel better again. The cycle has no natural end point. There is no upgrade that permanently satisfies, because satisfaction from objects is always temporary by neurological design. The consumer economy understands this perfectly. Product release cycles are calibrated to hedonic adaptation timelines. Phones release annually because adaptation to last year's model is largely complete by then. Car redesigns happen on a 3 to 5 year cycle. Fashion seasons turn over 4 times a year. The system isn't designed to satisfy you. It's designed to repeatedly restore a feeling that the previous cycle created and the adaptation process erased. You are not upgrading because your life genuinely requires it. You are upgrading because a system that profits from your upgrades has learned to create dissatisfaction on a reliable schedule. The person in that BMW isn't unusual. He's not weak-willed or irresponsible in any obvious way. He's a highly educated professional who simply never understood that the satisfaction he was chasing through upgrades was neurologically incapable of lasting. So he kept chasing it, and it kept costing him. And the wealth he earned disappeared into a cycle that felt like progress and produced none. Understanding this mechanism is the first step out of the trap, but the psychology is only half the picture. The upgrade trap is also financially structured to be as damaging as possible, and most people never see the full architecture clearly. The first layer is what I call the depreciation gap. Every upgrade involves selling or discarding a functioning item and replacing it with a newer one. The item you're replacing hasn't failed. It still has value, but that value is almost always less than what you originally paid for it, and almost always less than what you'll pay for the replacement. Consider the phone cycle. The average person replaces their phone every 26 months. You pay $1,100 for a flagship phone. After 26 months, its trade-in value is approximately $200 to $300. You apply that toward a new $1,100 phone. Net cost per cycle, roughly $800 to $900. Over 30 years of adult earning life, that's approximately 13 to 14 upgrade cycles. Total cost of phone upgrading alone, $10,400 to $12,600. And that's before accounting for what that money could have become if invested instead. $10,000 invested in a broad index fund at the beginning of your career grows to approximately $76,000 over 30 years at historical average returns. You didn't just spend $10,000 on phone upgrades, you spent $76,000. The purchase price is the entry fee, the opportunity cost is the real price. Now apply this calculation to every category where upgrade culture operates. Cars, televisions, kitchen appliances, furniture, clothing. Every category has an upgrade culture, a cultural norm for replacement timing, and a depreciation gap that quietly transfers your wealth to manufacturers and retailers. The second layer is the financing premium. Many upgrades aren't purchased outright. They're financed through loans, lease arrangements, or credit card balances. Financing transforms the depreciation gap into something worse by adding interest charges to an already losing proposition. The BMW in my opening story isn't owned, it's leased. Monthly lease payment, $680. Over 36 months, $24,480 paid. At the end, no asset. Cycle repeats, $24,480 every 3 years. Over 30 years, $244,800 paid in lease payments with zero equity accumulated. The same $244,800 in index fund investments becomes approximately $1.3 million over 30 years. That's the lease premium, the full cost of driving a new car every 3 years instead of owning a reliable vehicle outright. The third layer is ecosystem expansion. Every upgrade generates supporting purchases. The new car needs updated insurance, new floor mats, a matching phone mount. The new phone needs a new case, new accessories, possibly a new charging standard that makes your existing cables obsolete. The new house needs furniture scaled to the new space, decor suited to the new aesthetic, landscaping appropriate for the new neighborhood. When you calculate the full ecosystem cost of major upgrades, the actual financial damage is typically 40 to 80% larger than the sticker price suggests. The fourth and most insidious layer is social ratcheting. Once you upgrade, the new level becomes your baseline, not just psychologically, but socially. Your friends and colleagues update their mental model of your lifestyle. Your own sense of identity adjusts to the upgraded life. Returning to the previous level feels like regression, even if the previous level was entirely adequate. This is why lifestyle deflation is psychologically harder than lifestyle inflation. Buying the bigger house feels good. Selling the bigger house for something smaller, even for excellent financial reasons, feels like failure, even when it's the smartest move available. The upgrade ratchet clicks forward easily. It resists moving backward with enormous force. These 4 layers, the depreciation gap, the financing premium, ecosystem expansion, and social ratcheting, combine to make the upgrade trap one of the most financially devastating patterns available to ordinary consumers. And it operates largely invisibly, disguised as normal behavior, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. Now let's talk about the rules that people who escape the trap actually follow. The first rule is to establish functionality as your upgrade trigger, not novelty, not culture, not boredom. The most fundamental shift required to escape the upgrade trap is changing your definition of when replacement is actually warranted. The cultural default is novelty. You upgrade when something new and better exists. This happens constantly because manufacturers ensure that something new and better always exists. The trap's definition is social timing. You upgrade on the cultural cycle: new phone every 2 years, new car every 5, new furniture when you move. This timing isn't based on anything in your actual life. It's based on industry release schedules and social norms calibrated to maximize consumption. The escape definition is functionality. You upgrade when an item genuinely fails to perform its required function, not when a newer model exists, not when you've grown bored with the current one, not when a colleague has something newer, not when the manufacturer releases a product that makes your current item feel dated. When it fails to do what it's supposed to do, that's the line. Your phone makes calls, it sends messages, it runs the applications you actually use, it connects to the internet, it takes photos that capture real moments adequately. The new model has a better camera and a design refresh. None of those improvements address a genuine failure. Under the functionality standard, no upgrade is warranted. Under the novelty standard, every annual release creates pressure. The functionality standard requires you to define function specifically for each item you own. A car's function is reliable transportation from point A to point B in reasonable comfort and safety. A television's function is displaying video content clearly enough to be enjoyable. A kitchen appliance's function is accomplishing its specific cooking task adequately. When an item meets its functional definition, it doesn't need replacement regardless of what alternatives exist. The woman with the 2014 Camry didn't keep the car because she couldn't afford a new one. She kept it because it performs its function perfectly. It gets her where she needs to go, reliably, safely, and comfortably. Every year she doesn't upgrade that car, the money grows in her investment account. The car isn't a sacrifice. It's a wealth-building machine disguised as transportation. The second rule is to calculate the true upgrade cost, not the sticker price difference. When people justify upgrades financially, they almost always calculate incorrectly. They look at the sticker price of the new item and compare it to the trade-in value of the current one. The difference feels manageable, and so they upgrade. This calculation is missing most of the actual cost. The true upgrade cost has 5 components. Most people calculate one. The first is the depreciation gap, the difference between what you receive for the current item and what you pay for the replacement. That's the component people calculate. It's the smallest part of the true cost. The second is transaction costs, the time spent researching, comparing, purchasing, setting up, and disposing. For significant purchases, this runs 5 to 20 hours of real time. The third is ecosystem adjustment costs, the accessories, peripherals, and supporting items the upgrade makes incompatible or obsolete. These costs are rarely included in upgrade calculations and often dwarf the sticker price gap. The fourth is opportunity cost, the investment return the upgrade cost would have generated if invested instead. Every dollar spent on an upgrade is a dollar not compounding. At 8% annual returns, a dollar today becomes approximately $10 in 30 years. A $5,000 net upgrade cost has a 30-year opportunity cost of $50,000. A $15,000 car upgrade has a 30-year opportunity cost of $150,000. The fifth is the baseline adjustment tax, the ongoing cost increase from maintaining a higher baseline. The more expensive car costs more to insure, more to maintain, more to register. This premium continues for as long as you maintain the upgraded baseline. When you calculate all 5 components, most upgrades become obviously poor financial decisions. The sticker price gap of $3,000 becomes a true upgrade cost of $8,000 to $15,000 once everything is included. Presented honestly, most people would decline. The system profits from your incomplete calculation. Make yours complete. The third rule is to implement a 90-day upgrade buffer. Upgrade desires are almost always emotional, not rational. They're triggered by exposure, seeing a colleague's new car, watching a review video, receiving a targeted advertisement calibrated precisely to your browsing history. The emotion is real and immediate. The desire feels urgent. But the rational evaluation requires deliberate effort that the emotional system tends to override when the feeling is fresh. The 90-day buffer is a structural intervention that separates the emotional trigger from the purchase decision by a span of time long enough for the emotion to subside. When you feel the desire to upgrade something, anything, you don't act. You write it down. You note the item, the date, and the emotional trigger if you can identify it. You set a reminder for 90 days later. During those 90 days, you live with the desire without acting on it. You may research. You may calculate the true upgrade cost, but you don't purchase. At 90 days, you revisit the desire. Do you still feel strongly enough about this upgrade to execute it, having evaluated it with emotional distance and financial clarity? Research on delayed purchasing consistently shows that 70 to 80% of purchase desires that feel urgent in the moment feel significantly less compelling after a waiting period. Most upgrade desires don't survive 90 days of honest examination. The 10 to 30% that do survive are often legitimate. The buffer doesn't prevent all upgrades. It prevents impulsive, emotionally driven upgrades, the ones that quietly drain lifetime wealth. The fourth rule is to audit your upgrade history before your next upgrade. Most people have no accurate memory of their upgrade history. Ask someone how many phones they've owned in the last decade and they'll underestimate. Ask the total amount spent on vehicle upgrades across their adult life, and they'll produce a number that's probably half the reality. Memory distorts financial information systematically. We remember purchases in isolation. We forget the trade-in values, the financing costs, the accessories. We don't naturally accumulate them into a lifetime pattern. Pull your bank statements and purchase records going back as far as possible. For each major category, vehicles, phones, televisions, computers, furniture, build a timeline. What did you own? When did you acquire it? What did it cost? When did you replace it? What did you receive for it? What was the net cost of each cycle? Total those net costs by category. Then calculate what those totals would be worth today if invested at historical market returns rather than spent. This exercise is uncomfortable. It's designed to be. Seeing $47,000 in lifetime vehicle upgrade costs representing $180,000 in foregone retirement wealth is not a pleasant experience, but it's an honest one, and the honesty is the point. The audit also reveals patterns, which categories are upgrade traps for you specifically, driven by taste or status rather than functional failure. These categories deserve specific attention going forward. The audit transforms abstract advice into personal reality. That specificity carries psychological weight that general advice cannot. The fifth rule is to separate your identity from your objects. Here's something the upgrade trap relies on absolutely: the conflation of what you own with who you are. When a car becomes an identity statement rather than transportation, you don't evaluate it as transportation. You evaluate it as self-expression, status communication, and social positioning. Those are emotional and social needs with no natural financial boundary. Transportation needs have a clear answer. Identity needs are infinitely expensive to satisfy through objects. The person in the BMW isn't primarily solving a transportation problem. He's maintaining a self-concept. The car says things he wants said about him: success, taste, arrival. Those are real psychological needs, but objects are an extraordinarily inefficient and expensive way to meet them. And they're ineffective in the long run because hedonic adaptation erases the identity signal just as surely as it erases the satisfaction. The BMW stops feeling like a status signal once it's simply the car you drive every day. The escape from this layer requires finding alternative ways to meet the identity and status needs that objects temporarily satisfy. Research consistently points toward the same alternatives: experiences that generate stories, relationships that provide genuine belonging, skills that create authentic competence, and financial security that generates confidence no possession can replicate. The woman with the 2014 Camry doesn't need her car to communicate success because her bank account and the 6 weeks she spent in Portugal communicate it more powerfully than any vehicle could. Her identity is secured by genuine financial strength, not its appearance. The sixth rule is to design your upgrade environment intentionally. You cannot rely on willpower to escape the upgrade trap. The trap is engineered by systems with billions of dollars invested in triggering upgrade desires. Willpower against that engineering is a losing proposition. The sustainable escape is environmental design. Unsubscribe from every product newsletter and promotional email. Remove shopping applications from your devices. Understand that every piece of marketing content you consume is designed to create dissatisfaction with what you currently own. Your information diet controls your baseline satisfaction level. Curate it accordingly. Be conscious of the spending patterns in your social environment. Research on lifestyle inflation is unambiguous that spending habits are powerfully contagious within social groups. Avoid showrooms, stores, and environments where new products are displayed unless you have a specific intended purchase. The easiest way to resist the trigger is to avoid exposure to it. Algorithm-driven content platforms learn your interests and serve increasingly targeted upgrade triggers. The cycling content about car reviews, phone comparisons, home renovation, and technology is not random. It's calibrated to your specific patterns. Engaging with it trains the algorithm to send more. Breaking the cycle requires deliberate disengagement. Environmental design doesn't require perfection. It requires enough friction in the upgrade pipeline that impulsive decisions become structurally difficult. Combined with the 90-day buffer, it eliminates the vast majority of upgrade decisions that the trap depends on. The seventh rule is to redefine what winning looks like. The upgrade trap is sustained by a specific definition of winning, having newer, better, more expensive things than you previously had, and ideally than the people around you have. Progress is measured by the upgrade trajectory. Success is visible in the quality and recency of possessions. This definition is enormously profitable for the consumer economy and enormously destructive for individual wealth. People who escape the upgrade trap replace this definition with something more honest. Winning looks like optionality, the ability to make choices based on preference rather than financial constraint. Can you leave your job if it becomes untenable? Can you handle a financial emergency without stress? Can you help someone you love when they need it? Can you take time off when you need it rather than when your savings account permits? Can you make decisions about your home, your location, your career based on what genuinely suits your life rather than what your financial position forces? These are the markers of genuine winning. They're invisible from the outside. Nobody driving past your house can see your 6-month emergency fund or your investment portfolio's growth trajectory, but they're real in ways that no possession is. The person earning $94,000 with 22 months of savings and a sabbatical she took because she wanted to is winning by every measure that actually matters in a human life. The person earning $180,000 with $11,000 in savings who can't absorb an unexpected repair bill is losing, regardless of how the external evidence reads. Redefining winning doesn't happen once. It's an ongoing practice of returning to your actual values when culture tries to override them. The eighth rule is to apply what I call the deathbed clarity test. When you're evaluating an upgrade, when the 90-day buffer has elapsed, and you're genuinely considering whether to proceed, ask yourself one question. Will having upgraded this item at this moment matter in any meaningful way to the life I look back on from the end of it? Not whether it matters now, in the emotional immediacy of wanting it. Not whether it matters this week, when the novelty would be fresh, but whether the aggregate life you live will be materially different because of this specific upgrade. For almost every upgrade under consideration, the honest answer is no. The car you drive between 2025 and 2030 will not appear in any meaningful life narrative. The phone generation you use will be indistinguishable in memory. The television size will be irrelevant. These objects, despite their emotional prominence in the moment of wanting, leave almost no trace in the life that matters. What leaves trace, experiences do, relationships do, skills developed do, freedom exercised does, the financial security that allowed choices does, the sabbatical taken because the savings existed does. The deathbed clarity test is a forceful reminder that the upgrade trap trades what actually matters for what doesn't, measured at the scale of a human life. It doesn't make every upgrade wrong. An upgrade that genuinely enhances daily experience in lasting ways may pass the test. But most upgrades, evaluated at this scale, reveal themselves as minor and forgettable. The ninth rule is to create a conscious upgrade allowance. Deprivation is not sustainable. A framework that prohibits all upgrades forever will fail because human beings need novelty, quality, and the pleasure of occasional acquisition. The goal isn't to eliminate upgrading. It's to eliminate unconscious, trap-driven upgrading and replace it with deliberate, chosen upgrading. The conscious upgrade allowance creates a specific budget for planned upgrades, a defined amount set aside annually, designated specifically for intentional improvements to your life. Within this budget, upgrades are welcome. Outside it, they require extraordinary justification. A reasonable starting point is 2 to 5% of net income, reviewed annually. This funds meaningful upgrades at a pace your finances can absorb without compromising investment priorities. The allowance forces prioritization. With a limited upgrade budget, you choose which upgrades genuinely matter most, which reveals which ones are important and which are simply impulsive. The person who allocates $3,600 per year as a conscious upgrade allowance and spends it deliberately on 1 or 2 upgrades that genuinely improve daily life derives far more satisfaction from those purchases than the person who spends $15,000 impulsively across dozens of minor upgrades that none of them fully noticed. Deliberate enjoyment is more satisfying than constant acquisition. The allowance forces deliberateness and thereby improves the quality of the enjoyment the money produces. The 10th rule is to track the freedom number, not the possession quality score. What you measure is what you optimize for. What you track is what grows. Most people in the upgrade trap implicitly track their possession quality score, the aggregate recency, quality, and completeness of what they own. When the score goes up through an upgrade, it feels like progress. When it stays flat, it feels like stagnation. This measurement system perfectly serves the upgrade trap's interests and perfectly undermines yours. People who escape the trap track something different. They track what I call the freedom number, the ratio of their liquid savings and investments to their annual expenses. This number represents how many years they could sustain their current lifestyle without income. It is the most honest measure of actual financial progress available. A freedom number of 0.5 means you have 6 months of savings. A freedom number of 1 means 1 year. A freedom number of 25 means you can likely stop working entirely if you choose. Every dollar that would have gone to an unnecessary upgrade goes to investment instead, and the freedom number grows. Every upgrade resisted is months of freedom purchased. The math is transparent and motivating once you start tracking it. The woman with the 2014 Camry tracks her freedom number. It grows every month. The month-long sabbatical was possible because the number supported it. The next one will be longer. The man in the leased BMW doesn't track a freedom number because he doesn't have one worth tracking. He tracks his possession quality score, and it's impressive. His cars, his phone, his television, his kitchen, all recently upgraded, all current generation. From the outside looking at these two lives, most people would assume the BMW driver is winning. From the inside, looking at bank statements, investment portfolios, and actual lived freedom, the picture is completely reversed. Let me give you a concrete sequence for beginning the escape from the upgrade trap, starting today. This week, conduct the upgrade history audit in one category. Choose vehicles or phones since these tend to have the highest total upgrade costs. Build the timeline, calculate the net costs, and compute the opportunity cost at historical investment returns. Look at the number honestly. Let it be real. This month, implement the 90-day buffer for every upgrade desire you notice. Write them down when they arise. Set the reminders. Notice how many desires arise and how many survive the 90 days with the same intensity. This quarter, audit your information environment. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Remove shopping applications. Reduce engagement with content that consistently generates upgrade desire without serving genuine need. This year, define your upgrade allowance. Calculate 2 to 5% of your net income. This is your deliberate upgrade budget. Within it, upgrade freely and with full enjoyment. Outside it, the 90-day buffer, the true cost calculation, and the deathbed clarity test apply before you proceed. Set your freedom number tracking system. Calculate where you currently stand. Set a target for where you want to be in 5 years. Track it monthly. Watch it become the number you actually care about. I want to close with something beyond the numbers because the numbers, as stark as they are, don't capture the full cost. The upgrade trap costs time. Every hour spent researching the next upgrade, comparing specifications, visiting showrooms, managing a high-possession lifestyle, those hours are finite and non-renewable. The upgrade trap costs mental energy. The cognitive load of constant acquisition is substantial and largely invisible, but it accumulates into a background drain that research consistently links to reduced creativity, reduced decision quality, and reduced well-being. The upgrade trap costs identity. When your sense of self is anchored in what you own, your identity is permanently fragile. Objects can be lost, stolen, damaged, and obsoleted. A self built on genuine competence, deep relationships, meaningful experiences, and financial freedom is robust in a way that possessions can never be. And the upgrade trap costs freedom. Every dollar that goes to an upgrade is a dollar that cannot buy your time, your choices, your ability to say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. Freedom is the scarcest resource in a modern adult life, and it is purchased with the margin between what you earn and what you spend. The upgrade trap eliminates that margin. The BMW in the driveway is beautiful. I understand the pull of it completely. The engineering is extraordinary. The comfort is real. The design communicates something that a 2014 Camry simply does not. But the woman with the 2014 Camry spent 6 weeks in Portugal last year. She slept in, walked through old cities, ate unhurriedly, read books in the afternoon, and came home when she was ready rather than when her vacation days required. The BMW driver spent those 6 weeks at his desk, servicing a lifestyle that requires every dollar he earns to maintain, dreaming of the kind of freedom that his neighbor funded with the money he spent on his car. The trap is real, the escape is available, the choice ultimately belongs to you.